Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, welcome to Leisure Gaming. I know I've been gone for a little bit. I've been trying to get some stuff handled in life. A lot of events have been happening, and I'm also taking care of a little project that's in-home project that I'll be glad to share with you guys once that's done. But for now, I'm going to try and take you through a deck that's one of my favorites that I've been playing, or that I've played off and on since 2003 when it was released. I believe everyone loves this card. Everyone's played it at least one point. You either love it or you love to hate it. So let's jump right to it. As you can see, that's right. It is the Relinquished deck. Like I said, you either love it or you love to hate it, right? So let's take a look at the deck. I'm running 2 Maxis, basic hand trap. I'm running 3 Millennium Eyes Illusionists. This card says you can discard this card and target one effect monster your opponent controls. Equip that target to an Eyes Restrict fusion monster or relinquish you control as if it were equipped by that monster's effect. If an Eyes Restrict fusion monster or monsters or relinquish is special summon, add this card from your graveyard to your hand. It is not optional. Running 3 Sangen, easy search. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, add one monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand. But you cannot activate cards or effects with the same name for the rest of the turn. Running 3 Tour Guide from the Underground. Once again, this is another great search. When this card is normal summon, you can special summon 1 level 3 Fiend monster from your hand or deck, but negate its effects. Also cannot be used as synchro material. Running 2 Ash Blossoms. Once again, another famous hand trap. Running 1 Crusadia Arborea. You can special summon this card from your hand in defense position to your zone a link monster points to. You can only special summon Crusadia Arborea once per turn this way. If Crusadia monsters you control will be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard instead. You can only use this effect of Crusadia Arborea once per turn. And then, as you can see, we're running the Kaiju engine, and all the Kaijus are pretty much the same effect because we're not using the other halves of the effect. So you can special summon any of these Kaijus to your opponent's side of the field by tributing one of their monsters, and then as long as they have a Kaiju, you can special summon a Kaiju for yourself on your side of the field. Running 1 Nibiru, the Primal Being, another great hand trap for this deck. And of course, we have to run 3 Relinquish. You can ritual summon this card with Black Illusion Ritual once per turn. You can target one monster your opponent controls. Equip that target to this card. This card's attack and defense become equal to that equipped monster. If this card will be destroyed by battle, destroy the equipped monster instead. And while that equipped monster is on there and you take any battle damage, your opponent will also share that same battle damage that you take. Then we have 1 Raigeki, destroy all monsters your opponent controls just to clear the field. Monster Reborn, you can target one monster in either graveyard or special summon it. We have Instant Fusion, where you pay 1000 life points, special summon 1 level 5 or lower fusion monster from your extra deck, but it cannot attack, and it is destroyed at the end of the phase. You can only activate 1 instant fusion per turn. Then of course we have to run 3 Interrupted Kaiju Slumbers. Destroy as many monsters on the field as possible, and special summon in attack position 2 Kaiju monsters, 1 on your opponent's side of the field and 1 on your side of the field. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card and add 1 Kaiju monster from your deck to your hand. So this is a great way to clear the field if you are in trouble. If your opponent has a big field or a big board and you're able to get this off, it just gets rid of all that hard work that they've done for the last, 15 minutes in turn 1. Then we're running 3 Pre-Preparation of Rites. Add 1 ritual monster from your deck to your hand, and add 1 ritual monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand whose name is listed on the ritual spell. Of course, we're running the 3 Black Illusion Rituals. This helps us bring out Relinquish that we mentioned earlier. Of course, we have to run the Super Poly. We run 2 of those. We discard 1 card and fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck. Use the monsters from either field as fusion material. Neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. Once again, this is another great way to get rid of those pesky monsters on the field, such as DPE, which is everywhere right now. And of course, we're running 3 Relinquish Fusion Quick Play spell. Fusion summon 1 Eyes Restrict fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing materials from your hand field and or graveyard. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one effect monster your opponent controls. Equip that target to the Eyes Restrict, fusion monster, or relinquish you control. As if it was equipped by that monster's effect, you can only use each effect of this card once per turn. On to the extra deck, we have 1000 Eyes Restrict. Other monsters on the field cannot change their battle positions or attack. Once per turn, you can target one monster your opponent controls, equip this target to this card. This card's attack and defense become equal to the equipped monster, just like the relinquish. If this card will be destroyed by battle, destroy the equipped monster instead. And then of course we have to run 2 of the boss monsters, Millennium Eyes Restrict. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can target one effect monster your opponent controls or in their graveyard. Equip that target to this card you control. This card gains attack and defense equal to the equipped monster, just like the other relinquish, like Thousand Eyes and relinquish. Monsters with the equipped monster's original name cannot activate their effects on the field, and their activated effects are negated. Also monsters with the equipped monster's original name cannot attack. So this is a great way to stop that pesky DPE that's popping up all over throughout the ladder right now. We're running 1 Mud Dragon of the Swamp. Your opponent cannot target this card or monsters on the field with the same attribute as this card. With card effects, once per turn you can declare one attribute. This card becomes that attribute until the end of this turn. So it's a great way to protect some of your other monsters, so that way you, with the same attribute, if you have something that's big bad on the field and you want to try and protect it, this is a great way to do that. Since we're running 2 super powers, we have to run the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. This card is fusion summoned. When this card is fusion summoned, you can make this card gain attack equal to one opponent's special summon monster until the end of the turn. Once per turn, you can target one level 5 or higher monster your opponent controls until the end phase. This card's name becomes that monster's original name, and replace this effect with that monster's original effect. If this fusion monster is destroyed, you can destroy all your opponent's special summon monsters. You can't have a relinquish deck without the little brother of the deck, Relinquish Anima. You can target one face-up monster this card points to, equip that face-up monster to this card. You can only use the effect of Relinquish Anima once per turn, and just like the rest, this card gains attack equal to the equipped monster. Of course, we have to run 1 Salamangreat. You can tribute this card, then target one monster you control. It cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects this turn. When the normal summon monster you control is destroyed by battle, while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. You can only use the effect once per turn. Then we have the basics. We have 1 Hulk. We have 1 Nightmare Phoenix. Of course, we have to run Predator Plant Verte Anaconda for this deck, because it's a fusion deck. You can target one face-up monster on the field. It becomes dark until the end of this turn. You can then pay 2,000 life points to send 1 fusion or polymerization, normal or quick play spell from your deck to your graveyard. This effect becomes that spell's effect. When that card is activated also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn. You can only use each effect of Predator Plant Verte Anaconda once per turn. We have 1 Nightmare Unicorn. Of course, we're running 1 Selene, Queen of the Master Magicians, which is so helpful in this deck because all of the relinquish monsters are spellcasters. If this card is linked, summon, place spell counters on this card equal to the number of spells on the field and in the graveyard. While an Endymion card is on the field, hope I said that right, your opponent's monsters cannot target this card for attack. Once per turn during the main phase, you can remove 3 spell counters from your field, special summon 1 spellcaster monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position to the zone this card points to. So this is going to be your way if somehow you lose your Relinquish, you lose your Millennium Eyes, or you lose your Thousand Eyes. If you can summon this card with all the spells that you have in this deck and that your opponent probably played, you're going to be able to get at least one of these guys back, and your main target, depending on which one you lost, is going to be your Millennium Eyes Restrict. And then we finish it off with 1 Boral Sword Dragon, the Appaloosa Bull of the God, and of course the Access Code Talker. So let's talk about combos for the deck. Some of the quick combos for the deck are going to revolve around the Tour Guide. So once you play your Tour Guide and they don't Ash Blossom, you can then search out the Sangan, which Sangan will then come to your field. Sangan's effect is negated, but now you would link those 2 to get your Predator Plant Verte Anaconda, and from there you can either use the ability to get a Relinquish Fusion or a Super Poly. Now once the Sangan goes into the graveyard, that can fill your hand with whatever you believe that you need, and your main targets for this, in my opinion, are going to be the Millennium Eyes Illusionist or your Relinquish, depending on what you have in your hand. If you already have both of these in your hand, I would suggest either another Tour Guide or one of the hand traps, such as Max C or maybe the Ash Blossom. Another combo for this deck is if you have any of the kaijus in your hand and your opponent has a monster that you want to just get rid of, and if you have instant fusion, you can then summon the kaiju, any kaiju, like I said, special summon it to your opponent's side of the field by tributing. Just make sure that when you do that, that the kaiju is sitting in front of the extra monster zone at the top. Here's why. Then you'll be able to use instant fusion. I would suggest just instant fusion into the Thousand Eyes Restrict, and then use the Thousand Eyes Restrict to link into the little brother Relinquish Anima, so that way it points towards that kaiju. Now you can take that kaiju, the field is clear, and you have a pretty big link 1 monster on the field to attack with. So that's the Relinquish deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.